Hello and welcome to Media Dialogues with Storyboard18. I am Delshad Irani and today I am in conversation with a true media maven of India's advertising industry and one of the key figures shaping its future, not only in terms of cultivating next-gen talent but also helping define the rules by which media companies play. Sinha is the CEO of leading media investments group IPG Mediabrands, which has firms like Lodestar, Initiative and BPN, driving media planning and buying for the country's biggest advertisers. He is also the current chairman of industry body BARC, which is the Broadcast Audience Research Council. In this special candid chat with us, Sinha shares his outlook and hopes for the advertising industry while giving us a take on the sweeping changes disrupting AdEx and the media landscape. Hello and welcome to the show, Shashi. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and those are lovely words to introduce.
So let me just kick off, Shashi, with asking you something, a contemporary question really. You know, we are seeing the confluence of two mega events this year. 2024 has started with a bang. We have the elections and we have the IPL. Put on your hat as a leading media planner in the country and tell me what you are seeing in terms of, you know, what your clients are doing, the AdEx that you're seeing. What is the play looking at like right now?
Firstly, from a consumer point, you know, it's a great opportunity because there's so much of consumption. Cricket and politics and news are the two big tentpoles on what consumers, take in. So I think it's a great opportunity. It happens once in 4 or 5 years. Last was 2019. So I think there can't be anything bigger than this. Two big tent poles, great opportunity for viewers to consume. As you know, India is one of the most fragmented markets in the world. There are hardly any programs with, I think only 4-5% programs more than one rating. So here, these two big tent poles and opportunities is great for advertisers. Here, they can, those who want to look at big outlays will look at IPL. Those who want to look at sustained outlays will look at elections. The elections is now started, it's going to be 6 weeks to 8 weeks. So there can't be a better opportunity for launches, for new brands to come in.
Absolutely. Let me just dig in a little bit into AdEx here right now, Shashi. What have you seen already sort of at the start of the financial year? How has the AdEx sort of surged? Where are you noticing that uptick even in terms of, you know, advertiser categories perhaps and media, of course?
So we are coming out of a somewhat tough year. Categories like e-com, the digital companies, the startups, they were all well funded. The big tech companies, they went a bit slow for obvious reasons.
And they disappeared this year?
They disappeared, yeah. When I say a bit slow, it's a euphemism for them disappearing. But I think CPG is always there. Thankfully, CPG input costs are now under control. So the margins are okay. So they will come back. You see a different kind of, auto companies last year had waiting periods of 7 months, 6 months, so they were not advertising. Now those, because supply chains are back in place, so they're there. Normally there are 30-40 auto launches in a year. So I think there are many things which point to good companies are robust. They have the bandwidth to spend, and that we'll see that happening. And from our side, there are these two big properties which are there. So I think the first 6 months look very rosy, rosy in a context of compared to last year. It may not be, because the global economy is what it is. So to bear that in mind. And with what's happening now in the last 2-3 days, may temper down, if oil prices go up. But I'm still optimistic that there will be a fair degree of investment in advertising to generate demand in the next 3 months, 4 months.
So a slightly sort of future facing question here. Of course, we are seeing this surge in spends in H1. What sort of impact then do you see in H2 happening? And even on, the great Indian festival season, it's a little bit sort of future facing, but tell me what kind of impact do you foresee given the surge right now?
So there are two aspects to this. One is, as you said, the festival. There is a positivity around that, so that like every year there will be, there will be increase in spends, increase in consumption. The other thing is, whatever the outcome of the elections, if there is a stable government in place, finally Indians believe a lot in psychology and sentiment. This is a country of emotions, and rationality is less. But even all over the world, it's a lot more emotion. So if there's a stable government in place, whatever the outcome is, I'm not going to opine on which way the results will go. But if it's a stable government, that itself will add to the sentiment. So I think for both these reasons, the outcome of the elections as well as the festive season which comes, I think it augurs well.
And given that, you know, this year also, and this has been happening for a couple of years now, there's a lot more emphasis on measurement. And I wanted to know, given again against the backdrop of the IPL and elections, how has the focus on measurement changed this year? And where are advertisers and media mavens like yourself, where are you seeing maximum ROI coming from in terms of the media?
So, you know, just now at this point in time, unfortunately, TV is the only body which is measured, TV rating is the only thing which is measured by a third party body, which is BARC, as you called it in the beginning. Digital, there is no third party measurement in place, which is industry body. There may be one-off things happening. Print had an industry measurement, which has been dormant for the last 4 years after COVID for a variety of reasons, obvious reasons. I think I'm a big believer in measurement, and being part of many industry bodies, including BARC, I think I attempt, if you allow me, I'll go step by step into each of these. I think print, we are trying to revive print measurement, and hopefully with Shailesh Vikram and a few of us on the body, we are hopeful that, you know, we'll get print measurement off the ground. Print measurement, not only print, it also gives the state of play of all media in India. So it's a larger measurement, the readership survey as it's called. So that's one. I'm most excited by what BARC is doing. You know, BARC has always been the favorite whipping boy for everyone the last so many years. As I was saying to them in a meeting a few days back, and let me share some of the plans there. So ratings are stabilized. So I'm not saying that, you know, they are up or low, but they're stable. So in a way, stability is what people want. They can predict, they can plan. So after ratings in play, there are 2-3 big initiatives we are doing, you know, and which have a far-reaching impact by the time we do it. It may take us 4, 5, 6 months to do, but we have set it into motion. The first thing is the way BARC was, our technology was structured, you know, all ratings were individual. So individual means you have to press buttons. So you won't go into a home, like your home and my home, chances are you will not allow a meter to be put, because I'm not going to allow button pressing. So as a board and as a TechCom, we have decided that this needs to change, at least. And you know what, therefore we are doing is, the lacuna was that premium homes were not being measured, and premium homes were not being measured, therefore broadcasters not doing content for them, and consequently that's why OTT sprung in, because, you know, doing content. So broadcasters doing content, as they call, the lowest common denominator. So doing for the masses, but for those homes they were not being done. So what we have embarked upon, and credit to the BARC team, Nakul and his team, they have developed a meter which is a cheap meter, some 6,000 rupees or so, and it will be put in homes, set meter. So it will measure, it won't measure individual, it will measure what household is watching. We will put it in premium homes, say 5,000, 6,000, whatever numbers we start with. So you will get to know what homes like yours and mine are watching, you know. So in a way, allow broadcasters to do content there, whether they put their OTT content or develop fresh content there. The second big thing we are doing is that we are, you know, we have the ability to measure CTV. So this big trend of CTV, how does it play with television, and are they similar? For example, IPL, how much viewership is on TV, how much is on the CTV part of it, all that, and sometimes it's TV, sometimes it's CTV, that aggregate can be got. And the third thing is BARC, most people don't know, has been running a digital panel of 12,000 homes for almost now, you know, 6-7 years. So we're trying to activate that. So I'm very excited.
Activate
the digital panel.
Digital panel.
So, you know, so if we can start measuring TV plus digital in some manner, this won't happen overnight, but at least we have started making the movement, and the board is aligned, the board has given approval. So I think in the next 6-7 months, before the year is end, I mean, if I'm optimistic, that before the year ends, you'll see a lot of this happening. So really exciting. If we can pull off even 70% of what I've outlined, between the print readership, between the 3 steps you're taking on the TV side, it'll be great. It'll be a remarkable change for the country, the way measurement has happened, and it'll allow us to then build on this in the future.
Okay. And while we are on BARC and measurement, then let me also ask you some of the sort of recent developments that have happened in terms of having multiple rating agencies, as the telecom regulator TRAI has suggested. What's your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so I'll give you 2 answers. I think the regulator is right in saying there should be multiple rating agencies. They should be in whatever form and measure, because they want free. They don't want control with any one person. Absolutely. The advantage BARC has, there are 2-3 advantages BARC has. Firstly, it's an industry body. So all the stakeholders are aligned. They're bought into it, you know, and therefore, if I may say so, and I don't want to be, I want to be careful in this. It has an incumbency advantage. You know, the fact that you have a thing. And then this is expensive business. People don't want to pay for measurement. One of the reasons measurement is not taken off, as you see on the print side, is people are paying. So for people to pay for both is going to be tough. But in principle, I don't think there's a problem, because competition breeds people to become better. You get more adept. So in principle, for TRA to say that you have multiple agencies, I think is a perfect call, and there's no issue at all.
And in terms of weekly data, what's happening? Are we going to see that see a return for that for the news genre? What's happening?
So so it's a tricky one you caught me on. The way I am candid, if you ask me personally, I believe that unrolling makes sense. I personally believe that there are always compromises. So when we started rolling, we fixed one problem, but there were other attendant problems. So personally, if you ask me, unrolling is something I would advocate. Now, BARC is the industry body which has got many stakeholders. The government has a play in this. So I think at some point in time, maybe when the elections are over, maybe when the dust settles, people will be more open to that. But my personal view is we should have unrolled data. So it's not only a BARC decision. It's a decision to be made by various stakeholders, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful after the elections that should be in place.
Again, while we're on the subject of this, let me also ask you another question on now AdEx. So earlier this year, of course, we saw multiple media agencies come out with their projections for AdEx in the country. All very wildly varying projections. What's your take on this, Shashi? I know we've briefly spoken about this previously, but where's the gap? What is happening, and what do you use?
So these are estimates. Firstly, there are worthy colleagues of mine who put them out, so I will not say anything about them. We also do some of this stuff, but the way the process is, let me explain. So there's no way to formally estimate. It's very difficult, and the challenge comes in digital. You see digital, so if you notice, if you see all the 3 or 4 public releases which have come out from the networks, TV, print, there will be not too much of a variation. There is variation, but it's within tolerable limits. The maximum variation is in digital.
In digital, yes.
And digital, the reason for that is there's a large mass of digital consumption or advertising AdEx coming in from SMEs. That's very difficult to monitor. You see, we are equipped to monitor, say, top 300, 400, 500 advertisers.
Right.
They are the guys, if you see television as a medium, those 400 advertisers probably spend 90% of the money on television. It's very easy to monitor within a play. Digital, almost 40% of spends are coming in from SMEs, FSMEs, which is very difficult for any network to monitor. So I think there will be a scope for, even the consultants are putting it out, FICCI and puts out. It's very difficult to figure out what the numbers are. There will be error because of the way. Then within digital, not only is SMEs and small advertisers, there is also there is also performance. And performance again becomes very difficult to monitor. There's no way. So I think that it's a cumbersome exercise. So we don't embark on it. If you notice, we never put out anything in the public space, right? Because we know it's fraught with error.
Let me just dial back, Shashi, to your point about television, of course, and linear TV and CTV. Now, of course, everybody has been calling time and death on linear TV for a while. What is your outlook? And especially again when you compare it to, of course, digital, but also CTV now.
I am a big believer that content will survive. Linear TV will go. I'll tell you why I believe linear TV is, because TV in India is very cheap, correct? Yes, at this point in time, CTV is also virtually given a fee. There's no, data costs are not there for a variety of reasons. But what I said, we have allowed top-end homes. CTV has grown at the expense of top-end homes. And top-end homes we have allowed at BARC. We are to blame, the measurement agency is to blame for not measuring those audiences. As a result, people not doing content from them. If tomorrow I can measure properly, which is what the whole plan is with this set meter which I spoke about, that if you can measure quality homes, for example, someone buying a 10 lakh plus car, why would he want to spend on a mass serial? Because he says, we don't watch that. So I think if we can get that going, if you allow measurement, then content people, they're smart. They're making out content for OTT. See, bulk of forget the Netflix and the Amazon Primes of the world, but bulk of the OTT players are people who also do TV content. They understand content, whether it's for linear TV or whether it's for OTT or CTV, whatever. So I think they will find content for that. Don't forget, even today, HD homes in India are more than CTV homes. It may change, but today there are probably 70 million, 60 million HD homes. By these numbers, no one knows the numbers, because only BARC does the baseline. The numbers thrown. CTV homes would be 35 million or so, rough estimate. So HD homes are, if you provide content for those homes, so you provide measurement, because finally television is an advertising business. It's on advertising revenue. Advertising is bought on the basis of ratings. If you are not measuring those homes, why will someone create content for them? Which is the lacuna. So if we start measuring those homes, you will find, so I genuinely believe there is a lot of juice, my favorite line, there is a lot of juice left in linear TV, stroke, whatever premium homes watch, that is what they will watch. Yeah.
While we're on content, Shashi, let me also ask you then about, what's the kind of programming that's working today, especially against the backdrop of elections. News genre, for instance, what kind of growth are you seeing there? What are you expecting? Give me your take.
So, television is seen as a women audience, I mean, from women audiences, and therefore the rest of them are passive. So the women watch particular kind of series, which is why you see the soaps, and that's where the belly of television is, the heart of television
GECs,
is.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of product categories. You see all your gaming, you see all your auto, where I'm not saying women don't have a role, but men have a larger role, and which is where today a lot of people, clients believe, whatever the data they say intuitively, the two things which work is sports, live sports and news. Yeah. So in spite of the fact news ratings may not show, because again news ratings are not when you cut across. Minute you do that segment which I'm talking about, the top end segment, you suddenly see news coming up. So I believe intuitively most clients are savvy. They know your ratings is a means to decision making, they're not the end. They say, listen, if this is what it is, so be it live sports, the original question you asked me, IPL and new elections, live sports and news, that's where the heart of it is. So I think for a large segment of brands, audiences matter are those audiences. So there's a huge potential and they'll never go away. See, a genre of serial or genre of content in the general entertainment space may change. Yeah, movies will not change, news will not change. You're always watching news, and a year like this, live sports will not change. It's a global phenomena. You'll find these things never change. Because it's not only is the elections, post-elections, government formation, then how does the new government work? What are the things? So it's going to be a long runway. It's going to be anyone who buys into these three genres. I mean, I'm keeping movies aside because movies also depend a lot on the title releases. But sports, there is IPL now, World Cup after that. So there's sports, live sports and news will always be the pillars and tentpoles for many brands.
And it's all lined up really well.
Yes.
I had a conversation recently with Ajay Dang of Ultratech Cement, and he said something very interesting. They don't want to be just advertisers, they want to be part of a conversation, driving that conversation around the development agenda. Give me a little bit of insight into what advertisers are thinking this election season from your conversation. I mean, of course, all your agencies have some of the biggest advertisers, work with some of the biggest advertisers, plan their media, their buying. What is the advertiser thinking right now?
So I think today, unfortunately, there's no right way to measure it, but therefore I'm going to use a loose term called engagement. Yeah. But a lot of clients are saying, and we have done many, and we have done with you. I go back to the time we did, for Racket, for Harpic, we did the Mission Pani. So many advertisers are turning around and saying, listen, we want a lot more. So how do we use, the standard line, the medium is a message. So how do we use the medium? It's not just advertising. Advertising, people realize, is paid. So what do we do to engage? And there can't be anyone more powerful than the media itself, and news. So for example, the elections, a lot of fun. We work with a lot of auto brands. So with electric coming in today, how is it that electric gains, how safety feature. So many advertisers are looking at that. Obviously, it requires a certain maturity because these command premiums, because there's that much more effort required from the broadcaster side to develop these. But we, for one, as an organization, and I'm sure other agencies also, believe that there's a value to this engagement. You see my client Amul. So, the regular buys they do are very less. They do a lot of stuff which is outside this. Or I can name many clients, and not only mine, many clients across. So I think the future is going to be here, and it will always come around live stuff. So sports will come once in a while, news will remain live all through. News can also take up causes. News also gives a counter to, all what you talk of the news that, it's become, should I say, seismic in a particular way. So this is the way to building and especially your network, and I'm not saying it because I'm sitting with you, but your network is positioned that way, that there is a fair degree of, there are many projects we have worked together, and you've seen it, under the broad CSR thing. It's not really CSR. Actually is helping the brand grow, because the viewer sees it, listen, there's some more value being added, and there's a positivity. That's why I used a loose term there of engagement, but there is a positive which gets added, and you'll see more and more brands as time goes by coming on news.
So recently, of course, P&G's global chief brand officer spoke about in-housing, and P&G has in-housed media buying in 2 of its largest markets, the US and China. They also went as far as to say that they've had some 10% savings on media because of in-housing, and of course the advantages of sales attribution and everything that comes with it. Tell me from your point of view, Shashi, is in-housing a threat? Because we are seeing that happening here more on the creative side. A few months ago, for instance, Godrej, again very large advertiser, completely in-housed its creative advertising, built an agency in-house essentially. And so have a lot of the startups. They have massive teams, internal teams. What is the scene on the media side of the business? Is it a threat?
So I wouldn't call it a threat. It's a reality. I tell you why I don't think it's a threat. So firstly, let me see where there is a possibility of in-housing. See, in this whole digital performance side, as you use the word attribution, it's iterative in nature. So they build in teams. A lot of people are loath to share data because performance means you're getting first party data, you're getting people who are consuming, and large. I mean, we work with Amazon will never, or many other clients don't want to share their first party data easily because that's proprietary. So they bring it in, they build a learning curve, and the learning curve can only come when they're doing it in-house, So I see that as a possibility in the long run. However, I also see it's a cycle. These things, if you look at 5 years, 7 years, people take it in, then they see there's a diminishing returns, and I explain to you why diminishing returns, because people get very into tunnel vision. See, the advantage agencies have, you're working across 100 clients, and you have different mindsets, different styles, different products, different state of evolution, different TGs. So everything is different. So you can, there's a tremendous amount of cross-category learning. So I've seen the example you gave of Indian startups. I will not name a client of mine used to do in-housing on programmatic, on performance, then would give it out, then bring it back, then give it out. So this cycle went on for 3-4 times. Yeah. So I think 1 year, 2 year, yes. So definitely in the short run, on the programmatic side, on the performance side, you will see for data confidentiality reasons, many reasons they will be in-housing. It doesn't bother me because finally, if the raison d'etre of agencies are not clear, they deserve to be shot on the foot. But if it's very clear that there is something we bring to the table, we are bringing, maybe a client has better expertise, they pay more to the talent, but we bring cross-category learnings, cross-functional learnings. How will TV interplay with digital? How will print play with and in India, TV print will be there for a long time to come. So what is the role of print with digital? What is the role of print with performance? What is the role of print with first party data? It has a role. You talked about activation. So I think these are cycles people will go through. The savings which you alluded to, primarily in the digital area, because the digital, there is no third party measurement, there is a lot of filth which happens, pardon my saying so. So that is table stakes. Once third party comes in properly, then all that will get sorted out. Like TV, everything got sorted out because TV is third party measurement. You go digital, still don't have third party measurement. So my sense is, yes, in-housing is a threat, undoubtedly. Finally, you have to stand up for something, and it's good because it forces us to think, what do we stand up? We are not just volume. Today, when I stand up and see my team presenting, we are the second largest network in the country. Scale means something. That's not good enough. That's not the right thing to say. So what is the quality which you bring to the table? If you have something to say that, listen, I work across these 7 clients, like talking to you, I have given you 5 examples. So that itself is a big, so yes, it is a threat, especially in the digital performance area. But I'm not sure whether someone who can counter it will counter it. Someone who stands up only for pricing will suffer.
Well said. Well, that's a great note to end our conversation on, Shashi. Always a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having over. Really loved this.